chain looks to be in pretty good condition. It's been probably 700 miles or so. I haven't been really counting since it was last cleaned and greased. Looks in pretty good condition. But I guess today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be cleaning this and greasing it, re-greasing it again, just to make sure that we keep everything in tip-top condition. Good morning. Today we're going to be doing a little bit of maintenance on the S1000R, and it has to do with a chain. That brings up a question. Should you lubricate your chain every 500 miles as they typically say in the manual, or can it go any longer? I think the rule of thumb, even on modern bikes, is that you should lubricate your chain every 500 miles. But what happens if you go a little bit longer? Is it that important, especially with the modern O-ring chains? I believe that the research has shown that while the lubrication on the inside of those O-rings are important for the actual lubrication of the linkages as they pivot about each other, the actual surfaces, mating surfaces between the roller parts of the chain and the sprocket, they still need to be lubricated. So as a result, it's a good idea to lubricate your chain. How you do it and the products that you use could have a direct influence on the level of effort needed and whether you feel like doing it or not, because it's not the most pleasant job to do on a motorcycle. It usually is a little bit daunting and people kind of put it off, and that's the reason why it's not done. So in this video I propose to show you how I do it. There might be better ways to do it, probably is, but this is the way I do it and I like to do it, and I'll show you the products that I use also. But before we start that, let me just say that the whole process involves warming the chain up. That means taking it for a ride around the block, getting the chain a bit warm, bringing it back into the garage, cleaning the chain, putting on the cleaner on it to make sure that that grease and gunk and all of that is removed, and then you wash the chain off, which you can incorporate with washing the bike as well, which is what I'm going to be doing. And then after you got that done, you bring the bike back into the garage and you dry the chain off, and then you put the protectant layer on it. You actually apply the lubricant / protectant layer, and you'll see what I mean when I get into doing that. So let me go and warm this chain up, and I'll be back. So here's the setup. I've just returned from my warm-up ride, and even though this is a hot bike, you can't tell if the chain is warmed up or not. It feels cool to the touch. Not cold, but pretty much room temperature. So warming up the chain, I don't know how far you've got to go to warm it up, but I probably went about 10 miles just now, and this is how warm it feels. What I'm trying to show you here is what you need to do is put some newspaper down on the floor. I don't have newspaper because we don't subscribe to newspapers, so what I've got is cardboard, pieces of cardboard. What I like to do is to put a sheet of cardboard behind the chain and have the bike in neutral, of course, and then I'll spray onto the chain from this angle, and it should hit the cardboard and hopefully soak into the cardboard and not run too much further down. If it does, I've got this rag here that I can put to kind of help, soak up some of the mess. So the product that I use for cleaning is just a product that I had from probably a couple of years ago. Clean up chain and chain cleaner, right? So it's just basically a degreaser. Give it a good shake, and then you spray it on, and then you work this grunge brush. So this is a grunge brush that you can buy. I don't know if it's Motion Pro, but it's got Motion Pro colors. You use that on the chain to kind of like work the grunge off, but you've got to spray this on first liberally all around. And then once you got that done and it's sitting there, let it sit for a while. I think the instructions say surfaces should be cold before application. Okay, well, it's cold, but it's not, you know. Spray cleanup on entire area to be cleaned. Use a soft brush to break up or dislodge excess grease and oil. I don't have that. Rinse thoroughly with a steady stream of cold water. Cleanup leaves no film. So, let's give this a shot. You can see how the spray comes out pretty fast. Give it little shots like that. So what I use is, and it's got some fumes to it, so you want to do this in a ventilated garage. But you spray it like that, all around. Right? And then you go from this side here. Oh, the fumes are getting to me. I see it's going down there, so I'll put my rag down there. Then I put this behind here and I spray like this. I'm not going to spray from the other side of the chain. Tell you that from now. That means spraying through the spokes. Any lubrication you do is better than none. And any cleaning that you do is better than none. So, got that done. So I'm going to use my grunge brush now to kind of dislodge any kind of mess that's there. You can use this grunge brush anywhere you want. I'm using it here now just to show you. Hopefully it's in the shot. To show you how this works. And you see, by doing it this way, I'm getting the outside of the chain. Then I'm going to go back and do it on here, on this part of the chain here. So I'm going to do this part of the chain to get the inside of the rollers. Okay? So let's continue degrunging. This is like engine degreaser. I mean, it goes on, it loosens all the grease, but then it's kind of water soluble and it washes off nicely in a soapy residue. So now when I brush, this will go on the top of the chain. So I'll clean the top of the chain now. Right? That's the theory. But what about the back of the chain? Remember I said I wasn't going to spray from that side, from the other side of the wheel through the spokes? So when I did it like this, I was getting these bristles on the other side anyway, when I was doing it like this before. So I would think that the other side is fairly clean. Okay, I'm calling that the length of the chain, and that's all the grunge brushing that I'm going to do for this cleaning operation. I remove my my cardboard and then wheel this bike outside and get it ready to be washed. So this cardboard is always used now for doing my chain. Look at this. So this part here got some mess on the floor. So why you got to be, this is why you've got to put newspaper or whatever it is all the way forward, because the front of the chain is in there, in here, it's behind here, the sprocket is here, right? And what happens is when you lubricate or put the cleaner on the chain, it goes in here and then it drips down. So you've got to kind of like do some cleanup afterwards, right? All of this is dirty, but you're going to spray all behind there with the water when you wash the bike. That's why when you clean the chain, you've got to wash the bike. Let's give this a rinse. You see all that stuff on the concrete? I don't know if you can see that in the shot, but There's a lot of goop coming out. Give it a good rinse. And then what I like to do is to roll the bike back a bit to get the other part of the chain that I can't reach that's gone in by the front sprocket there. Roll the bike back again and get that rinsed off. Alright. I'm going to rinse the rest of this chain and wash the rest of this bike, and then I'll resume when I put the protectant on it. Well, the bike is back in the garage now, and you can see from this how clean the chain is. And the grunge brush did a pretty good job. Look at that. Totally clean, right? So what we need to do now is to apply the lubrication and the protectant. I'm feeling this chain right now, and it's feeling a little bit slippery still, in the sense that that cleaner must have put a little bit of a you know, what do you call it, a nice protectant greasy layer on top. This is the product that I've been using for the last little while. DuPont Chain Saver wax based chain lube with Teflon. You might pick something else, but I like this. What I like about it, it's waxy. So there's no flinging and slinging of this lubricant all over the place. I hate that. So what I'm gonna do now, I've got a little blue rag here. I'm gonna put this thing on, get my cardboard, put it behind the chain, spray it on using this nozzle, and then wipe off any excess. And that's it, that's me done. So again, I got my cardboard behind there, and this is where I need a third pair of hands. I need to rotate the the tire with one hand, hold the cardboard in place with the other, and spray. But this will have to do. It's waxy when it dries, and but for now it's dripping because it's also lubricating at this point in time. So it can be still messy, but at least it's not as messy as the grease remover, right? Because there's no black stuff coming off. Knock off some of the excess on it. You don't want to wipe too much off, because you want it to kind of like dry up in place. So I'm just knocking off some of the excess drips. I got a couple of drips on the floor, but I don't care about that too much. Okay. So I got that done. So what I'm going to do now is go to the end of the chain, right? I'll go to this end here, and I'm going to spray again inside here. Okay? This way I got it on this face, and then I got it on the top. But I'm going to spray inside here so that the rollers and the sprocket get lubrication. Just spray like that. It's going to drip downwards, so you got to keep your rag handy. Chain looks pretty wet with this lubricant right now. I won't be riding this bike for the rest of today, just to make sure that this stuff dries up. I think that's good enough. So what I do now is finish off the job by giving it a little light wiping, right?
all of the stuff should have gone into all the creases by now, and that's what you want it to be. And you want a light protective layer on top of the exposed surfaces of the chain to stave off rust. But as for lubrication, that's in the creases and the crevices. That's it. Job done. So tell me in the comments, do you use this product, or do you use something similar to it? What do you use for cleaning your chain? I would think any old degreaser would do. Engine degreaser probably would do, but I'm not sure about the effect of that on the O-rings. You want something that's not going to damage the O-rings, so best to use a product designed for chains. Anyway, that's it for me. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you find it useful, and talk to you later in the next one.